heart of Yellowstone National Park, Shoshone Lake lay like a serene, unspoken secret amidst the wild. It was here in September 2021 that Kim Crumbo and his brother Mark O'Neill set out on a journey that would etch their names into the memory of the park forever. Their story, a blend of adventure and mystery, began under a sky that promised both tranquility and turmoil. Kim, 74, was a man of the waters, a soul woven from the threads of the countless rivers he'd navigated. His life, a rich tapestry of environmental conservation, resonated with the spirit of the wild. Mark, 67, shared this profound bond with nature. His quiet demeanor complemented his brother's, and together they were a duo united by water and wilderness. Their bond was deepened by their shared childhood, growing up with a love for water and adventure. Kim, a Navy SEAL veteran and seasoned river ranger, carried the wisdom of the rivers in his eyes. Mark, a guardian of national parks and an advocate for nature, wore his years of experience like a badge of honor. As they prepared for their journey, the brothers were unaware that this trip would be their last together. On a cool September morning, with the gentle hum of Yellowstone waking up around them, Kim and Mark set out on Shoshone Lake. The glassy surface of the water reflected their excitement, the canoe cutting through the stillness with each determined stroke. The surrounding wilderness, a vast expanse of pine and mystery, watched in silent anticipation. The lake, however, had its own secrets and perils. Despite their extensive experience, Kim and Mark soon found themselves at the mercy of nature's unpredictable moods. As they approached the Narrows, a notorious passage on the lake, the calm waters began to churn. The sky, once clear, was now a canvas of dark, brooding clouds. Back on the shore, a sense of unease lingered at their abandoned campsite. The crackling fire, once a source of warmth and comfort, now burned solemnly, its flames casting long shadows over the untouched supplies. The brothers, who had set out with laughter and stories, were now enveloped by the unforgiving embrace of the lake. The search for Kim and Mark was an arduous journey of hope and despair. As days turned into weeks, the relentless efforts of the search teams painted a picture of unwavering determination. The discovery of Mark's body, a heartbreaking moment, brought a devastating reality to the surface. The wilderness that had been their sanctuary was now a reminder of their tragic fate. Kim, however, remained elusive, his spirit seemingly one with the lake he loved. The search continued, but as winter's cold fingers crept over Yellowstone, hope faded like the last rays of the sun. Superintendent Cam Shawley, haunted by the loss and driven by a sense of duty, embarked on a solitary search, a testament to the unyielding nature of hope. The wilderness of Yellowstone, with its beauty and dangers, became a silent witness to the story of Kim and Mark. Their legacy, a tale of passion for the natural world and the unbreakable bond of brotherhood, lingered in the air, in the rustling of the leaves, and in the gentle lap of the waters against the shore. Their journey, marked by adventure and ended in mystery, remains a poignant reminder of nature's unpredictable power. In the heart of Yellowstone, the story of Kim Crumbo and Mark O'Neill lives on, a narrative of two souls forever intertwined with the wild, untamed spirit of Shoshone Lake.
In the heart of southeastern Arizona, where the Chiricahua Mountains rise stark against the sky, lies a story that has echoed through the canyons for over 4 decades. It's a tale not of the land's rugged beauty, but of a man who vanished within it, leaving behind a mystery that has puzzled many and tormented those he loved. Paul Fugate, a dedicated park ranger at Chiricahua National Monument, was as much a part of the landscape as the towering rock formations and deep valleys he patrolled. At 41, his life was deeply intertwined with the park's trails and history. Known for his passion for the outdoors and commitment to conservation, Paul was a familiar face to visitors and a cornerstone in the park community. On a seemingly ordinary Sunday afternoon, January 13, 1980, Paul set out from the visitor center on a routine patrol. His destination was the faraway ranch area, a recent addition to the park he was eager to inspect. Wearing his full ranger uniform, badge proudly displayed, He told a colleague he'd return by 4:30 p.m. With a casual wave, he stepped onto the trail and into the unknown. This moment, so ordinary at the time, would be the last time anyone at Chiricahua would see him. As the hours passed, and there was no sign of Paul, concern quickly escalated into alarm. The park, his home and sanctuary, seemingly swallowed him whole. The search efforts that followed were massive in scale, employing tracking dogs, aircraft, and a battalion of volunteers from numerous agencies. Yet despite their exhaustive efforts, the rugged terrain offered no clues to Paul's whereabouts. For Dodi Fugait, Paul's wife, the sudden disappearance of her husband was a nightmare from which she couldn't awaken. The man she loved, her partner in life's adventure, had vanished. "I feel as though a part of me has just been sliced off," she said, the agony of not knowing what happened to Paul being a constant shadow in her life. The search for Paul became a search for closure, a journey that has stretched over 40 years without an end. Theories about Paul's fate abound. Some speculate he encountered foul play, perhaps stumbling upon illicit activities within the park's remote expanses. Others wonder if an accident or natural causes took him, leaving no trace in the vast wilderness. But without evidence, these theories remain speculative. The truth of Paul's disappearance is as elusive as the man himself. The pain of Paul's absence is shared by those who knew him, including Barbara Elfbrandt, a longtime friend. The weight of the mystery, the endless questions with no answers, is a burden they carry daily. "I don't believe that I did originally that it would be solved," Elfbrandt admitted, the hope once bright now dimmed by the passage of time. In 2018, the National Park Service unexpectedly decided to reopen Paul's case, citing new evidence and increasing the reward for information to $60,000. Yet they remained silent on the nature of this evidence, leaving many to wonder if the mystery that has lingered for so long might finally be solved. Despite the renewed investigation, Paul's family and friends are left with memories and the pain of his absence. "Paul and I were sort of like two halves of one person," Dodi reminisced, her words a testament to the depth of their bond. The other half of her, she feels, is somewhere out there waiting to be found. The story of Paul Fugate is a stark reminder of the vastness and mystery of the natural world, a place where beauty and danger coexist. His disappearance from Chiricahua National Monument remains one of the most enduring mysteries in the history of the National Park Service. For those who knew and loved him, the search for answers continues, a quest for closure in the face of an unfathomable loss.
In the shadow of the world's highest peaks, where the air whispers secrets of ancient ice and stone, Suhajda Szilard embarked on a journey that would etch his name into the annals of mountaineering history. It was May 2023, a year that would be remembered for its achievements and the heartbreaking tales of those who dared to challenge the mighty Everest. Among them was Szilard, a lone Hungarian climber with a spirit as indomitable as the mountains he sought to conquer. Szilard was not just another climber. He was a dreamer, driven by a passion for the mountains that bordered on reverence. His goal was audacious: to scale Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen or a personal Sherpa guide. If achieved, this feat would place him among the world's elite climbers, a testament to human endurance and willpower. On the eve of his ascent, the base camp buzzed with anticipation and anxiety. In all their majestic beauty, the Himalayas were unforgiving, a realm where nature dictated the terms of survival. Szilard's determination was unwavering. He had prepared for this moment for months, acclimatizing his body to the thin air, mapping his route, and mentally steeling himself for the challenges ahead. The morning of May 24th dawned clear and cold, the sun casting a golden glow over the snow-capped peaks. Szilard set off from Camp 4, his figure soon swallowed by the vast expanse of ice and rock. The only lifeline connecting him to the world below was a satellite phone and a GPS tracker, which seemed almost insignificant in the face of Everest's enormity. Hours into his climb, Szilard reached the balcony, a small plateau that offered a brief respite from the relentless ascent. He contacted his team, his voice crackling through the satellite phone. "I'm feeling strong. The weather is good." His voice was optimistic, a belief that the summit was within reach. But as the day wore on, Zillard's silence became deafening. The GPS tracker, his constant companion, sent its last signal from an elevation of 8,795 meters. After that, nothing. The hours turned into days, and the hope that had once burned brightly began to dim. The search for Zillard was fraught with challenges. The harsh weather conditions, the treacherous terrain, and the sheer scale of the mountain made every step a gamble. A team of Sherpas, experienced climbers who knew Everest's every mood and whim, was dispatched. They scoured Zillard's route, their eyes straining for any sign of the lone climber. As the news of Zillard's disappearance spread, sorrow engulfed the mountaineering community. Zillard had been more than a climber. He had been an inspiration, a symbol of what it meant to pursue one's dreams with every fiber of one's being. Back home, Zillard's family and friends clung to hope, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that the mountain he loved might have claimed him as its own. His wife, Timea Legindi, spoke of her unwavering trust in her husband's strength and the miracles the mountains could bestow. The search for Zillard continued each day, a testament to the resolve of those who refused to give up. But as the season turned and the mountain prepared to cloak itself in winter's embrace, the reality of the situation sank in. Suhajda Zillard, the solo Hungarian climber who had dared to face Everest without oxygen, had become part of the mountain's legend. His story a poignant reminder of the fine line between triumph and tragedy in the high Himalayas. In the embrace of early morning, beneath the towering gaze of Mount Everest, Srinivas Sainas Dattatreya stood at the threshold of destiny. It was May 18, 2023, a date that would mark his ascent into history and mystery. Hailing from Singapore, Srinivas was more than just another name in the long list of Everest aspirants. He was a beacon of hope, a silent warrior battling against the odds, a deaf-mute climber aiming to etch his story on the unforgiving slopes of the world's highest peak. Everest was more than a mountain for Srinivas. It was a dream that had whispered to him through the years, a challenge that spoke to the depths of his spirit. On that fateful day, as the sun broke through the shroud of darkness, Srinivas embarked on his journey, his heart laden with aspirations and his soul alight with the flame of adventure. The base camp buzzed with activity, a symphony of climbers and Sherpas, each engrossed in their preparation rituals. Amidst them, Srinivas stood out, not just for the silence that enveloped him, but for the determination that shone in his eyes. With every step he took, he carried the hopes of those who dared to dream, despite their disabilities, proving that the spirit knows no bounds. As he ascended, the air grew thinner, the path steeper, and the world around him transformed into a landscape of ice and snow. The beauty of Everest unfurled before him, a realm where the earth kissed the sky, a place of serene majesty and lurking danger. With each breath, Srinivas felt the weight of his dream pressing down upon him, yet his resolve never wavered. The climb was grueling, a test of endurance and will, but Srinivas moved with a grace born of sheer willpower. He had trained for this moment. His body and mind honed for the battle against altitude and elements. With his guide, Chaturman Rai, by his side, he scaled heights that few dare to reach. But Everest, in all its splendor, holds secrets in its icy embrace. Just beyond Camp 4, as the summit beckoned, tragedy struck. The details remained shrouded in the mists of the mountain, a tale of a fall that silenced the dreams of a brave soul. Srinivas, who had conquered so much, found himself in the grip of the mountain's merciless might. The news of his fall sent ripples of shock and grief across continents, reaching the heart of his wife, Sushma Soma, who had waited with bated breath for the call of victory. Instead, she was faced with the silence of loss, the absence of a voice that had promised to return. The search for Srinivas began, desperate to find a man who had become one with Everest. Rescuers scoured the slopes and helicopters pierced the skies, but the mountain, in its silent majesty, offered no answers. Srinivas Sainas Dattatreya, The man who climbed beyond the realm of sound and speech had become a whisper on the wind, a memory etched in the heart of Everest. Though marked by an untimely end, his story remains a beacon of inspiration. In the pages of history, amidst tales of courage and conquest, Srinivas Sainath Dattatreya's name will stand as a testament to the undying human spirit, a reminder that dreams, no matter how lofty, are worth the climb. On a brisk spring morning in 1991, Daniel Campbell, known to his friends as Dan, found himself at a crossroads in life. A 42-year-old resident of Big Timber, Montana, Dan had the rugged, weathered look of a man accustomed to the outdoors. His life, marked by a series of unwise choices, had led him to a moment of desperate decision-making. Financially strained and seeking a way out, he turned to the wilderness he knew so well for a solution. Though fraught with legal risks, Dan's plan seemed straightforward. He would venture into Yellowstone National Park to hunt for elk antlers. Despite the illegality of this act in the park, Dan, an experienced outdoorsman with notable survival skills, felt confident in his abilities. He had previously marked a trail through the challenging terrain of the Hell Roaring Trail area, intending to return and collect the valuable antlers. April 6 dawned with the promise of adventure as Dan set off from the Hell Roaring Trailhead, accompanied by his loyal Australian shepherd Freckles, and carrying a backpack filled with supplies for their 2-day hike. He felt a familiar thrill. The plan was to hike from Hell Roaring to Jardine, Montana, picking up the hidden antlers. His girlfriend was to meet him in Jardine on April 8th, a detail that underscored the precise nature of his plan. The Hell Roaring Trail was a path less traveled, a place where the wild heart of Yellowstone beat strongest. As Dan and Freckles embarked on their journey, the landscape unfolded in rugged splendor. Towering trees, the distant peaks, and the untamed rivers formed a backdrop that had always felt like home to Dan. However, unknown to Dan, his venture coincided with a sudden and severe spring snowstorm, transforming the landscape into a treacherous maze. The wilderness he knew so well became an unforgiving expanse, obscuring paths and landmarks under a blanket of white. When April 8th arrived and Dan did not appear in Jardine, concern quickly escalated into alarm. His girlfriend, fraught with worry, reported him missing, triggering a search operation that would soon reveal the complex layers of Dan's journey. The discovery that he had been antler hunting added a layer of urgency and illegality to the search. Well aware of the risks associated with this illicit activity, park rangers and law enforcement intensified their efforts. Days turned into weeks, and the extensive search by ground teams and air support yielded no trace of Dan or Freckles. The vast expanse of Yellowstone, coupled with the inclement weather, made the search daunting. The puzzling absence of any sign of Dan or his belongings deepened the mystery. Dan's family, particularly his 3 brothers, became increasingly involved in the search, their concern growing into frustration as days passed without any leads. The lack of evidence, the unanswered questions about the gunshots heard by other hikers, and the discovery of a suspicious campsite only added layers of complexity to the case. The possibility of foul play began to take root in the minds of Dan's loved ones. The untested confiscated camping gear, the ammunition, and the rumors of altercations in the woods all pointed to a narrative far more sinister than a mere disappearance. Yet without concrete evidence, law enforcement maintained the classification of the case as a missing person. Years passed, and the mystery of Dan Campbell's disappearance remained unsolved, leaving a lingering sense of loss and unresolved questions. The rugged trails of Yellowstone held their secrets close, and for Dan's family, the ache of not knowing what happened on that fateful spring day in 1991 endured. In the heart of Yellowstone, where the Hell Roaring Creek meets the Yellowstone River, the forest silence seemed to echo with the untold story of Dan Campbell and Freckles. Their tale of adventure turned tragedy became a haunting reminder of nature's unpredictability and the profound impact of a single decision. In the shadow of the towering Everest, a tale of courage and silence unfolded, weaving a story that would echo through the hearts of many. Muhammad Hawari bin Hashim, a man whose world was quiet, embarked on a journey that spoke louder than words. From the bustling streets of Kapala Bataz, Penang, to the serene, formidable slopes of the highest peak on earth, Hashim carried a dream to show that even in silence, one could roar. May 18, 2023, dawned crisply clear in the Himalayas, the sky a vast expanse of blue, watching over those who dared to tread its sacred grounds. Hashim was not alone in his ascent. He was guided by the steadfast Chakra Rai, a guide whose experience was as vast as the mountains themselves. Together they climbed, each step a testament to Hashim's resolve to shatter the barriers of perception and ability. Hashim's mission was not just personal. It was a beacon of hope for every soul that faced challenges, a declaration that the summit of dreams was attainable, regardless of the silence of one's world. As they reached the peak, the Penang flag unfurled against the stark white of Everest, marking a moment of triumph for Hashim and all who dared to dream beyond their limitations. Yet as the shadows lengthened and the euphoria of the summit gave way to the tricky descent, the mountain revealed its ruthless nature. Having etched his name in history, Hashim began his journey back to Camp 4. But fate, as unpredictable as the mountain winds, had other plans. By May 19th, whispers of concern spread through the base camp. Hashim was missing. The news sent ripples of worry and action through the camp. Nivesh Karkai, along with a team of seasoned Sherpas, launched into a search that battled against time, weather, and Everest's unforgiving terrain. The mountain, a silent witness to countless triumphs and tragedies, held its breath as the search for Hashim continued. Days melded into a blur of hope and despair. The search teams combing the crevices and ledges, looking for any sign of the brave soul who ventured into the realm of the gods. Amidst the vast snow and rock, they found a Gore-Tex jacket, a beacon of hope that Hashim was out there, waiting to be seen. The jacket, equipped with Reco technology, was a silent cry for help, a thread connecting Hashim to those who sought him. Back in Malaysia, Hashim's family clung to tendrils of hope that news of his safety would reach them. His wife, a pillar of strength amidst the uncertainty, and his two children, too young to grasp the magnitude of their father's silence, waited for a miracle. As the search continued, the reality of the mountain's harsh decree became apparent. The chances of finding Hashim alive dwindled with each passing day, his silence merging with the eternal quiet of Everest. The rescue operation, a testament to the resilience and courage of those who dared to look for one of their own, was called off. Everest claimed another soul, adding to the lore of bravery and heartbreak it had witnessed. Muhammad Hawari bin Hashim's story, a narrative of courage, dreams, and the poignant silence of loss, were forever etched in the hearts of those who heard it. His ascent to Everest was not just a climb, but a message to the world that the human spirit speaks volumes, even in silence. It was a journey that transcended the physical realms, touching the hearts of those who believe in the power of dreams and the indomitable will to achieve them. In the end, Everest remains, as ever, a witness to the myriad of stories of those who dare to embrace its challenges. Among these tales, Muhammad Hawari bin Hashim's story stands as a beacon of hope, courage, and the profound impact of a silent journey that echoes worldwide.
Deep within the heart of Yellowstone National Park, where the wilderness stretches as far as the eye can see, there lived a ranger whose soul was as vast and profound as the landscapes he protected. Dwayne P. McClure was not just a guardian of this majestic wilderness. He was part of it. Born into a world where the rustle of leaves and the whisper of the wind were languages he understood, Dwayne grew up with a deep-seated reverence for nature that guided his life. Dwayne's journey with the National Park Service spanned a decade, a testament to his unwavering commitment to preserving the natural beauty that defined his existence. Every morning, as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, casting a golden glow on the serene waters of Yellowstone Lake, Dwayne embarked on his patrol. In his canoe, he moved with a grace that belied the strength and determination within him, a solitary figure against the backdrop of towering mountains and endless skies. For Duane, the park was more than his workplace. It was his home, a sanctuary where he found peace and purpose. He was familiar with every trail, every hidden grove, and the stories of the creatures that roamed the land. His life was intertwined with the rhythms of nature, where each day brought new challenges and wonders. But beyond his role as a protector, Duane was a beloved son, a brother, and a cherished friend. His laughter was as infectious as his passion for the wild, endearing him to all who had the privilege of knowing him. Then came the day that would forever mark a before and after in the story of Yellowstone. On May 22, 1980, as the park basked in the full bloom of spring, Duane set out on a routine patrol across Yellowstone Lake. The waters, which had witnessed countless sunrises and sunsets under Duane's watchful eye, were deceptively calm that day. Duane entered the lake's embrace with his canoe as his trusted companion, the horizon stretching endlessly before him. But as the hours passed and the shadows lengthened, a silence fell over the park. Duane did not return. Concern turned to alarm as his radio calls went unanswered, an ominous quiet settling over the waters he knew so well. A search was launched, a collective effort born of hope and desperation. Rangers and volunteers scoured the area, their determination fueled by the bond they shared with Duane, a man who had devoted his life to the wild. They found his canoe capsized and abandoned, a silent witness to a tragedy that remained shrouded in mystery. Despite their exhaustive efforts, Duane's fate remained unknown, the lake keeping its secrets. The wilderness, his sanctuary, had claimed him, leaving behind a void that echoed with the loss of a man whose life was a testament to the beauty and peril of the natural world. In the years that followed, Duane's legacy lived on as a beacon for those who continued to protect the parks and wilderness areas across the nation. His story is a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by rangers who, like Duane, serve as the guardians of nature's wonders. It is a tale of love, loss, and the enduring spirit of a man who, in life and memory, remains an integral part of the wilderness he cherished. As the seasons change and the years pass, the memory of Duane P. McClure endures, a reminder of the profound connection between humans and the earth. In the heart of Yellowstone, where the lake's waters meet the sky, his spirit whispers with the wind, forever a part of the wild he loved.
September 6, 2010, dawned like any other day in the quiet suburb of Burtonsville, Maryland. Stuart Isaac, a 48-year-old man from the serene islands of Palau, found himself amid a life far removed from his island roots. In the comfort of his home, surrounded by the familiar faces of his family, Stuart seemed like a man at peace. Yet beneath the surface, an inexplicable restlessness stirred. That morning, Stuart moved with an unusual urgency. His family noticed him packing a bag, an odd sight given his usual routine. Stuart was a man of habit, not known for impromptu decisions or adventures into the unknown. Yet he was placing a few belongings into his car, a black 2009 Lexus IS 250. It was an ordinary car about to embark on an extraordinary journey. Before leaving, Stuart left a note for his family. It was brief, devoid of his usual warmth. Going on a cross-country trip, it read. There was no explanation, no detailed plans, just a vague announcement that left more questions than answers. His puzzled family watched Stuart drive away, his car disappearing into the distance, taking with it a part of their lives that would never return. The drive to Yellowstone National Park was long and solitary. For 32 hours, Stuart traversed highways and back roads, passing through landscapes that contrasted starkly with his suburban life. The scenic beauty of Yellowstone awaited him, but his mind was clouded, lost in a maze of thoughts that no one else could navigate. Upon his arrival at Yellowstone, the vast wilderness greeted him. Majestic geysers, towering mountains, and sprawling forests, the park was a testament to nature's grandeur. For many, Yellowstone was a place of escape, an oasis of tranquility. For Stuart, it felt different. The park's expanse mirrored the vastness of his unspoken thoughts. September 24th brought a peculiar turn. Stuart called an old high school friend, Matsu, living far away in Guam. They hadn't spoken in years, but here he was, reaching out in the early hours, his voice carrying a weight that words could not convey. They spoke for 2 hours, but the content of that conversation remained a mystery, a private exchange lost in the echoes of the park. 2 days later, on September 26th, Stuart's journey took an inexplicable turn. His car was found at Craig Pass, an isolated spot in the park known for its elevation and lack of trails. The car was abandoned, unlocked, with keys still in the ignition, as if Stuart had stepped out for a moment and vanished into the wilderness. Back in Maryland, Stuart's family grappled with his sudden absence. Confusion and worry gnawed at them as days turned into weeks, with no word from him. The home that once resonated with his presence now echoed with his absence. An extensive search ensued, combing through the rugged terrain of Yellowstone, but no trace of Stuart was found. The man who had left Burtonsville searching for something undefinable had disappeared, leaving a trail of unanswered questions. The mystery of Stuart Isaac's disappearance lingered in the years that followed. His family, friends, and even strangers who heard of his story pondered over the unanswered questions. What drove a seemingly content man to embark on a journey without return? What did he seek in the vastness of Yellowstone? Like Stuart himself, the answers remained elusive, lost in the whispering winds of the park's endless forests. In the heart of Yellowstone National Park, Shoshone Lake lay like a serene, unspoken secret amidst the wild. It was here in September 2021 that Kim Crumbo and his brother Mark O'Neill set out on a journey that would etch their names into the memory of the park forever. Their story, a blend of adventure and mystery, began under a sky that promised both tranquility and turmoil. Kim, 74, was a man of the waters, a soul woven from the threads of the countless rivers he'd navigated. His life, a rich tapestry of environmental conservation, resonated with the spirit of the wild. Mark, 67, shared this profound bond with nature. His quiet demeanor complemented his brother's, and together they were a duo united by water and wilderness. Their bond was deepened by their shared childhood, growing up with a love for water and adventure. Kim, a Navy SEAL veteran and seasoned river ranger, carried the wisdom of the rivers in his eyes. Mark, a guardian of national parks and an advocate for nature, wore his years of experience like a badge of honor. As they prepared for their journey, the brothers were unaware that this trip would be their last together. On a cool September morning, with the gentle hum of Yellowstone waking up around them, Kim and Mark set out on Shoshone Lake. The glassy surface of the water reflected their excitement, the canoe cutting through the stillness with each determined stroke. The surrounding wilderness, a vast expanse of pine and mystery, watched in silent anticipation. The lake, however, had its own secrets and perils. Despite their extensive experience, Kim and Mark soon found themselves at the mercy of nature's unpredictable moods. As they approached the Narrows, a notorious passage on the lake, the calm waters began to churn. The sky, once clear, was now a canvas of dark, brooding clouds. Back on the shore, a sense of unease lingered at their abandoned campsite. The crackling fire, once a source of warmth and comfort, now burned solemnly, its flames casting long shadows over the untouched supplies. The brothers, who had set out with laughter and stories, were now enveloped by the unforgiving embrace of the lake. The search for Kim and Mark was an arduous journey of hope and despair. As days turned into weeks, the relentless efforts of the search teams painted a picture of unwavering determination. The discovery of Mark's body, a heartbreaking moment, brought a devastating reality to the surface. The wilderness that had been their sanctuary was now a reminder of their tragic fate. Kim, however, remained elusive, his spirit seemingly one with the lake he loved. The search continued, but as winter's cold fingers crept over Yellowstone, hope faded like the last rays of the sun. Superintendent Cam Shawley, haunted by the loss and driven by a sense of duty, embarked on a solitary search, a testament to the unyielding nature of hope. The wilderness of Yellowstone, with its beauty and dangers, became a silent witness to the story of Kim and Mark. Their legacy, a tale of passion for the natural world and the unbreakable bond of brotherhood, lingered in the air, in the rustling of the leaves, and in the gentle lap of the waters against the shore. Their journey, marked by adventure and ended in mystery, remains a poignant reminder of nature's unpredictable power. In the heart of Yellowstone, the story of Kim Crumbo and Mark O'Neill lives on, a narrative of two souls forever intertwined with the wild, untamed spirit of Shoshone Lake.
In the serene expanse of Mount Rainier National Park, where the towering peak casts its shadow over lush forests, an unforeseen tragedy shattered the tranquility of winding trails at the dawn of a new year. On the first day of January 2012, a time that promised fresh beginnings, the park became the backdrop for a story of courage, loss, and the unyielding spirit of those dedicated to protecting these sacred grounds. Margaret Anderson, a 34-year-old park ranger, mother to two young daughters, and a cherished member of the ranger community, set out on that chilly morning, unaware that it would be her last. Margaret, known for her gentle demeanor and unwavering dedication, was the epitome of the park's guardians, committed to safeguarding the natural beauty and the visitors who come to marvel at it. The tranquility of the park was disrupted when news broke of a man, later identified as Benjamin Colton Barnes, a troubled former soldier. Clad in the remnants of his military past and harboring a tumultuous inner turmoil, Barnes had become entangled in a web of violence that led him from a shooting in a Seattle suburb to the snowy slopes of Mount Rainier. As the park braced for the influx of visitors eager to witness the winter wonderland, a checkpoint had been established to ensure the safety of those venturing into the snow-covered paradise. It was here that Barnes, intent on evading capture, stormed through, setting off a chain of events that would forever alter the course of many lives. Margaret, stationed at Paradise, received the call to action. With a sense of duty that outweighed the risks, she positioned her patrol vehicle to block the path of the approaching menace, a barrier between danger and the unsuspecting families above. Daniel Kamicha, another ranger, joined her in this critical mission, their resolve unwavering in the face of the unknown threat. The confrontation was swift and devastating. Barnes, armed and desperate, unleashed a hail of bullets, striking Margaret before she had a chance to defend herself or retreat. Her sacrifice, a stark testament to her bravery, prevented the gunman from reaching the heart of Paradise, where the consequences could have been unimaginably dire. The park, now a scene of sorrow, echoed the efforts of those who sought to apprehend Barnes and come to Margaret's aid. But it was too late. The ranger who had dedicated her life to protecting others was gone, her legacy imprinted on the land she loved. In the days that followed, a massive manhunt unfolded across the rugged terrain as rangers and law enforcement officers pursued Barnes, who ultimately met his end in the cold embrace of the wilderness, a solitary conclusion to a path marked by turmoil. Margaret Anderson's story is a poignant reminder of the risks borne by the guardians of our national parks. Her bravery, sacrifice, and love for Mount Rainier National Park will forever be remembered as a beacon of courage in adversity. As we reflect on that fateful New Year's Day, we are reminded of the fragility of life and the enduring strength of the human spirit, exemplified by a ranger who stood firm in protecting the natural wonder entrusted to her care.
In the vast silence that wraps the towering slopes of Mount Everest, Jason Bernard Kennison's story unfolded, a tale of resilience, dreams, and the indomitable human spirit. Born in the sun-drenched city of Perth, Australia, Jason's life was marked by remarkable courage, beginning with a tragic twist of fate in 2006 that would forever alter his path. A devastating car crash left him grappling with a shattered body and a future clouded with uncertainty. Doctors doubted he would walk again, but Jason, with a heart fiercer than Everest winds, refused to bow to fate. His recovery was nothing short of miraculous. Jason's days became a relentless pursuit of regaining what was lost. He faced each grueling physical therapy session with the determination of a climber facing the mountain's deadliest ascent. His spirit, unbroken, soared beyond the confines of his injuries. He taught himself to walk again, defying the limits set by his broken body. And with each step, he moved closer to a dream that had taken root in his heart, the summit of Everest. Jason's passion for climbing was ignited by documentaries of mountaineers who had braved the world's highest peak. Their stories of triumph and tragedy on the slopes of Everest spoke to something deep within him, a call to adventure that he could not ignore. Climbing became more than a sport. It was a testament to his journey from the brink of despair to the pinnacle of human endurance. In 2023, Jason set his sights on Everest, not just as a climber, but as a beacon of hope for others grappling with spinal cord injuries. He dedicated his climb to raising funds for Spinal Cord Injuries Australia, turning his battle into a crusade for those still fighting to find their way back from the edge. The preparation was intense, a year of physical and mental conditioning to prepare himself for the ultimate challenge. The climb was a harrowing test of will. Jason, now 40, faced the relentless elements of Everest with a steadfast resolve. With its breathtaking beauty and deadly perils, the mountain was a formidable adversary. As he ascended, every step was a victory over the doubts that had once threatened to define him. Jason's journey was a dance with danger, a balance between the thrill of the climb and the ever-present shadow of risk. Tragedy struck at the summit. Jason became unresponsive, a stark reminder of Everest's unforgiving nature. The descent became a race against time, a desperate effort to bring him to safety. Despite the heroic efforts of his Sherpa guides, the mountain claimed another soul. Jason's dream to stand atop the world ended on the balcony, a small platform where climbers rest before the final push to the summit. The news of Jason's passing was a blow felt across continents, from the rugged slopes of Everest to the shores of Australia. His family, heartbroken, shared his story with the world, a story of a man who had stood on top of the world but did not come home. His final texts, poignant reminders of his struggle against the elements, echoed the sentiments of a climber who had given his all. Jason's legacy is one of inspiration, a reminder that the human spirit knows no bounds. His life was a testament to the power of resilience, a narrative of overcoming the impossible. As the world mourns the loss of a true adventurer, Jason's story will endure, a beacon for those who dare to dream, climb, and conquer their Everest. On a brisk morning in April 1966, the Johnson family, filled with anticipation, embarked on a journey to Yellowstone National Park. Dennis Eugene Johnson, fondly called Denny by his family, was the youngest at 8 years old. He has sandy blonde hair that glinted in the sunlight, brown eyes reflecting a world of curiosity, and a notable scar across his abdomen, a mark of his bravery from a childhood adventure. Denny, his parents, and his older sister traveled from their home in Inyokern, California, to Yellowstone's vast, unspoiled expanses. Though the family was not strangers to outdoor excursions, they felt a different air of excitement about this trip. With its geysers, wildlife, and endless skies, Yellowstone was where nature whispered ancient tales. On April 12th, the Johnsons found themselves at the Cascade Picnic Area, a serene spot a quarter-mile north of Canyon Junction. The area, surrounded by towering pines and the gentle murmur of the nearby river, was the perfect backdrop for their family outing. Denny felt a sense of freedom in his dark red long-sleeve shirt and tan Levi's. His size 8 laced moccasin-type hiking boots crunched over the underbrush as he explored the area around the picnic spot. The family laid out their picnic, laughter mingling with the rustling leaves. But this idyllic scene was soon disrupted. Denny's sister, playful and unaware of the park's vastness, wandered off. Panic set in as her absence was noticed. Denny, ever the protective younger brother, immediately alerted his parents. Knowing his son's familiarity with the outdoors from their hunting trips in California, Denny's father decided they should split up to cover more ground. Denny set off in one direction with a nod of understanding, while his father went in another. The boy's confidence in his abilities was evident in his stride as he disappeared into the thickets. Hours passed and Denny's sister was found, but there was no sign of Denny. The family's calls for him echoed unanswered through the trees. As the sunlight faded, hope turned to despair. The park rangers were alerted and a search began. The search party scoured the area for the next 2 weeks, traversing the rugged landscapes of Yellowstone. They called out for Denny, hoping against hope for a response. They combed through the forest for any sign, a footprint, a piece of clothing, but the wilderness kept its secrets. Denny had vanished without a trace, his disappearance shrouded in mystery. Back at the picnic area, the remnants of their meal lay untouched, a stark reminder of the day's tragic turn. Denny's mother clutched his jacket, tears streaming down her face as she whispered his name into the wilderness. His stoic yet visibly shaken father coordinated with the search teams, refusing to leave the park without his son. Denny's sister, young and bewildered, clung to her parents, her eyes searching the woods for her brother. As days turned into weeks, hope dwindled. The possibility that Denny might have been picked up by a passing vehicle was considered, but with no leads or sightings, it remained a theory. The Johnson family returned home to California, their hearts heavy with the unresolved fate of their son. The story of Denny's disappearance spread through the community, a sad reminder of nature's unpredictability. His family held on to the memories of their bright, adventurous boy, hoping for answers that never came. Years passed, and the mystery of what happened to Denny in the vast wilderness of Yellowstone National Park remained unsolved. It lingered as a poignant tale of a family's loss, a young boy's unexplained disappearance, and the unforgiving nature of the wild.
In the heart of California's southern Sierra Nevada, within the vast wilderness of Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks, a story unfolded in July 1996 that remains etched in the memories of those who knew Randy Morganson. This tale intertwines the mysteries of nature with human emotion, highlighting the life and perplexing disappearance of an experienced backcountry ranger. James Randall "Randy" Morganson, born in 1945 in Yosemite Valley, was no stranger to the wild. His life was deeply connected to the national parks, having grown up and graduated from Yosemite National Park Valley School. For Randy, the Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park wasn't just a workplace but a sanctuary, where he spent 28 seasons as a seasonal backcountry ranger, guiding and protecting the land he loved. Described by his peers as one of the most knowledgeable rangers in the High Sierra, Randy's days started with a slow morning, savoring coffee and the stunning views outside his tent. He was a man who took the time to immerse himself in the beauty of the dawn, preparing for the day's work with a reflective calmness. His friend George Durkee remembered him as someone who approached each day and every visitor with a gentle, low-key demeanor, ensuring everyone's safety while preserving the park's pristine condition. Randy's dedication was evident in his disdain for visitors who left traces of their presence in the wilderness. He was known to carry gunny sacks on his patrols, collecting garbage left behind by those he humorously dubbed Swinus Americanus. His commitment to the park went beyond a ranger's duties. It was a personal mission to safeguard the beauty of the wilderness for future generations. On July 21, 1996, Randy embarked on what was supposed to be a routine patrol in his 80-square-mile area, starting from Bench Lake Station. He left a note on his tent, indicating his plans to be away for 2 to 3 days, but mistakenly wrote June instead of July. Randy took essentials for the journey but left behind his revolver, suggesting no anticipation of danger. This departure into the mountains was the last time anyone saw Randy alive. When days passed without any radio check-in from Randy, concern grew among his colleagues. Rick Sanger, another backcountry ranger, discovered the note on Randy's tent and reported him missing. The search that ensued was one of the most intense in National Park Service history, involving over 100 personnel combing through the wilderness, yet no trace of Randy was found. Randy's life surfaced during the investigation, revealing a man grappling with emotional turmoil. His marriage had ended in divorce after an affair came to light. leading to bouts of depression and suicidal thoughts. Randy had expressed a deep sense of loss and questioning of his life's worth, hinting at a profound inner struggle. After a thorough search yielded no results, Randy's disappearance remained a mystery until 2001, when his remains were discovered near a creek in a gorge. It appeared Randy had suffered a tragic accident, possibly falling through a snow bridge and succumbing to his injuries, hidden from the extensive searches by the snow and ice. The theories surrounding Randy's disappearance are as varied as they are speculative. Some believe he may have staged his death to secure benefits for his ex-wife, while others think it was simply a tragic accident. It remains clear that Randy Morganson's story is a poignant reminder of the unpredictable nature of the wilderness he loved and served, and the human fragility that can be exposed in its vast expanses. Randy's legacy lives on in the trails he patrolled and the memories of those who knew him. His life and disappearance in the Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks are a testament to the complex relationship between humans and the natural world, a relationship filled with beauty, danger, and sometimes unsolvable mysteries.
In the summer of 1900, Yellowstone's Fountain Hotel stood as a grand monument amidst the untamed wilderness, a symbol of refinement and grace. Its majestic architecture, towering against geothermal wonders, beckoned travelers from afar. The interior of the Fountain Hotel was a haven of luxury. Polished wooden floors gleamed under the soft glow of chandeliers, and ornate tapestries adorned the walls, each telling a tale of adventure and exploration. Guests adorned in their finest garments gathered in the grand hall, their voices melding into a harmonious blend of laughter and conversation. They spoke of the day's sightings, of bison herds roaming the plains, and the awe-inspiring eruptions of geysers. Into this world of splendor and excitement stepped Leroy R. Piper, a 36-year-old man from Ohio. With a demeanor more reserved than that of the exuberant guests around him, Piper moved through the hotel with a quiet grace, his eyes reflecting a deep, introspective soul. Despite his unassuming presence, there was an air of determination about him, as if he were on a journey not just through the park, but within himself. The dining room of the Fountain Hotel was a spectacle of culinary delight. Piper, seated alone, observed the room with a thoughtful gaze. As he dined, there was a sense of melancholy about him, a man seemingly wrestling with his thoughts. Yet he savored each bite as if imprinting the memory of the flavors and the place's ambiance upon his mind. After savoring his dinner, Piper purchased a cigar at the hotel's concierge desk. The lobby was abuzz with the evening's excitement, starkly contrasting with the serene darkness waiting outside. As he stepped into the fantastic night, the wilderness of Yellowstone enveloped him. Under the vast starlit sky, the sounds of the park's nocturnal life began to intensify. But as the hours passed, Piper did not return. His disappearance sent ripples of concern through the Fountain Hotel. A search was quickly organized, with detachments of cavalry combing the nearby woods and meadows. The news of Piper's disappearance spread like wildfire, igniting speculation and worry among the hotel guests and staff. As the days stretched into weeks, the mystery deepened. Theories abounded. Some whispered that he had lost his mind and wandered off, while others feared a more sinister fate. The hotel, once a place of joy and celebration, now carried the weight of a mystery. Piper's room remained untouched, a haunting reminder of his sudden absence. His belongings, a mix of personal items and travel gear, lay as he had left them, an eerie testament to his unexpected disappearance. The surrounding landscape of Yellowstone, usually a source of awe and inspiration, now seemed to hold a dark secret. The geysers and hot springs, once marveled at for their natural beauty, now appeared as potential hazards that might have claimed an unwary traveler. Rumors swirled among the hotel guests. Some spoke of seeing mysterious figures in the woods, while others recounted chilling howls in the night. Once cheerful and accommodating, the hotel staff moved with a sense of urgency and whispered concern. The Fountain Hotel's bear feeding station, a popular attraction for guests, became a focal point of the investigation. Some speculated that Piper might have ventured too close, meeting a tragic end. But no evidence was found. No sign of a struggle, no trace of Piper. As the search continued, the landscape of Yellowstone began to reveal its secrets, but none are related to Piper. The park's vastness, a mosaic of dense forests, meandering rivers, and rugged terrain, seemed to have swallowed him whole. Back at the hotel, Piper's disappearance became the subject of hushed conversations and furtive glances. Guests began to depart, the shadow of the mystery casting a pall over their stay. Once a beacon of Yellowstone's hospitality, the hotel now stood as a silent witness to one of the park's greatest mysteries. As the years passed, the story of Leroy R. Piper became a legend, a tale of a man who stepped into the night and the annals of Yellowstone's history, never to be seen again. His fate, forever entwined with the mystique of the park, remains an enigma, a haunting reminder of nature's unfathomable mysteries.
Zeb Hughes, a 21-year-old student at Mississippi State from Wesson, and Gunnar Palmer, a 16-year-old from Hazelhurst, were not just avid duck hunters. They were two souls bound by a common love for the outdoors and a passion for supporting wounded warriors through their volunteer work with Jeep Sullivan's Wounded Warrior Outdoor Adventures. It was on a chilly morning, December 3, 2020, that the two friends set out on a hunting trip near the Mississippi River. The air was crisp, and the promise of a wounded warrior hunt the next day fueled their excitement. Riding in their truck with a boat trailer in tow, they headed towards their usual hunting spot in Port Gibson. Gunnar's dog, Ranger, was always present on Zeb and Gunnar's hunting trips, but this time Gunnar decided not to bring the dog for reasons unknown. It was 2 p.m. in the afternoon when Zeb and Gunnar were nearing their usual hunting spot, which was Port Gibson, where they parked their truck to begin with the hunt. As they were pulling into Port Gibson, Zeb took his phone out and made a quick call to his mother, Sharon, saying that they were getting into Latorno Landing before saying goodbye, and his usual "I love you" to his mom. Zeb was a sweet child despite being 21 already, and it shows. With excitement on their faces just like the first time, Zeb and Gunnar went out of the truck with rifles on their hands and carrying everything they needed for the hunt. They were pretty skilled despite being very young, and it really shows just by the way they carry themselves near the water. Even though they've experienced hunting for ducks several times now, they're still mesmerized by nature and was always excited with what they do. There, they rode on the boat trailer they always carried and started their anticipated hunt. At first, the hunt was going so well, with Zeb and Gunnar peacefully navigating the waters and talking about random things. But when the night came, mysteriously, they never came home. Gunnar's father always calls his son whenever he knows that he's coming home from their hunt. Gunnar's dog, Ranger, was also patiently waiting for his beloved owner to arrive home. But he didn't, and this concerned Med the most, even Zeb's parents. The news struck the hearts of their families, particularly their fathers, Med Palmer and Barry Hughes. The search efforts involved local authorities, wildlife agencies, volunteers, and even the U.S. Coast Guard spanned weeks and months. Boats scoured the river's surface, sonar delved into its depths, and aircraft and drones combed the surroundings. Yet the mighty Mississippi held onto its secrets. The fathers, Barry and Med, refused to succumb to despair. As the weeks turned into months, they embarked on a relentless quest for closure, grappling with the pain of not knowing the fate of their sons. The Mississippi River, with its vast stretches and deep currents, became both a symbol of tragedy and a source of solace. National Boat Safety Week brought attention to the importance of boater safety, echoing the pain expressed by Sharon Hughes. She advocated for caution on the waters, emphasizing the need for preparedness to avert heart-wrenching incidents like the one that befell her son and his friend. The one-year anniversary loomed, yet the fathers persisted in their search, exploring riverbanks in the hopes of finding any trace of Zeb and Gunnar. The Mississippi River, once a witness to their joyous hunts, became the backdrop for a poignant quest for closure and remembrance. The story weaves through the emotional struggles of the fathers, the beauty of the river that claimed their sons, and the enduring connection between the families and the mighty Mississippi. The river, which took away 2 young lives, transformed into a place of reflection and remembrance for those left behind. As Med Palmer drove thousands of miles with Gunnar's dog Ranger by his side, he reflected on the irony of finding peace in the same river that stole his son away. The river, with its calm beauty and unforgiving currents, became a canvas for the fathers to paint their memories and seek closure. Up until this day, Zeb and Gunnar were never found. In the vast Australian outback, where the sun painted the land with shades of orange and shadows played hide-and-seek, there unfolded a mysterious tale of a young man named Jeremiah J.O. Rivers. It all began with a pig hunting trip, not your ordinary adventure, but one laced with secrets and shadows. Picture J.O., a 27-year-old indigenous man from the East Kimberley, setting out with a group of 7 companions. This journey, starting from Balranald, New South Wales, wasn't just about hunting pigs. There was a hidden agenda, the transport of cannabis to sell in faraway communities. As the convoy rolled through the dusty trails, the air filled with the scent of adventure and the distinct aroma of cannabis. The group, fueled by the drugs they carried, found themselves in a haze of excitement. However, J.O. seemed to be affected more than the others. Hallucinations danced in his eyes, and he spoke of a longing to swim in waters clearer than those around him. The desert, a vast and mysterious canvas, became the setting for a story that went beyond the ordinary. Weepo Creek near Nokundra became the stage where J.O.'s reality faded into shadows. His kinship brother, Joe Cantilla Gaydon, witnessed the unfolding events. In his intoxicated state, J.O. expressed a desire to find clearer waters. As night fell, J.O. wandered off into the unknown, leaving behind a trail of uncertainty. Fear gripped the group, preventing them from reaching out to authorities due to harsh conditions and the fear of legal consequences. It wasn't until the next day that the authorities were alerted, delayed by the shadows of legality and fear. The search, a desperate attempt to unravel the mystery, unfolded with land, air, and water efforts. However, the unforgiving landscape held its secrets tightly, revealing no trace of J.O., his clothing, or signs of foul play. The inquest into his disappearance was marked by allegations of confrontation between J.O. and Joe Cantilla Gaydon, adding layers of complexity to an already enigmatic story. Days turned into nights and hope dwindled in the vastness of the outback. The family, devastated by the lack of closure, resorted to unconventional means in their quest for answers. International scammers preyed on their vulnerability, falsely claiming a kidnapping for ransom. A psychic medium offered glimpses into the ethereal, but substantive leads remained elusive. As the inquest unfolded in Brisbane, witnesses, including the men from the ill-fated journey and involved police officers, shed light on the mysterious vanishing of J.O. Rivers. The proceedings, a journey into the heart of darkness, aimed to unravel the circumstances surrounding his disappearance. Allegations of cannabis trafficking and violations of COVID-19 restrictions painted a vivid backdrop to a story that transcended the boundaries of a mere hunting trip. The narrative, entwined with elements of mystery, unfolded against the backdrop of an indigenous man's disappearance in the harsh embrace of the Australian outback. Balloons released into the East Kimberley sky marked the anniversaries, a reminder of a void left behind. The outpouring of grief extended beyond the physical boundaries, with friends and family pleading for answers that eluded them. The inquest, a beacon of hope for closure, delved into the heartache that resonated through Warman and the wider East Kimberley region. The truth, elusive as ever, remained hidden beneath layers of conflicting accounts and unanswered questions. The 5-day inquiry sought justice, not just for J.O. Rivers, but for the community bound by sorrow and uncertainty. Even to this day, the search for J.O. continued, but not even a sign of him has been seen ever since.